Hey there, welcome. And I am here with Mary Sue Dahill from Work Smarter Digital. And to continue the conversation for Referrals Month, I don't know if you saw my last live, but I officially declared it on like the 19th of April, Referrals Month. I know I was a little slow on the uptake this month.
I'm sure there's an available national day for
I'm sure there is. I'm going to probably go reserve that and get that onto the social media calendar in the future. But one of the things, there are so many questions around referrals. And first I'm going to show you, I'm going to just say, here's why we're talking about referrals. Then I want to get Mary Sue's perspective on automating referrals. Should you do it? Should you not? And then just take the conversation from there about the strategies, a training I've got coming up, and just like all the things that go into referral generation. So why am I so nutty about referrals? We'll start there. Well, because one thing I see is a lot of business owners, they want to get new business. And I particularly know this is true for service-based businesses. And service-based businesses, the number one way they get business is through referrals, but they call it word of mouth, which is this kind of airy-fairy, like, how do I make this happen? It just happens randomly. And they're always saying, I need to upgrade. Mary Sue, you probably hear this too. Oh, I need to upgrade past referrals. Like referrals is this piddly thing. And once you advance and grow, then you'll be doing something more sophisticated.
Right.
Yeah. And the fact is that, my business, I'd say probably 40% of it, 30 to 40% is referral based. And we're doing over $250,000 a year. We're getting towards $500,000. This is a very
simple work.
What's that?
Simple works.
Simple works. Simple is my favorite. And not only that, referrals are inexpensive to generate. They are all about relationships and connecting and collaborating. And they require very little technology, although we are going to talk a little bit about automation. And they come to you warm and they close at a higher level. I mean, there's nothing not to love about referrals, except figuring out how to generate them so that they are consistent. And a lot of times when we think about consistently, we do go to, okay, how do I automate this? And so Mary Sue is a founder of Work Smarter Digital. She's just got this wonderful brain that can really see how to get tasks and your workflow and your email, like all of your things, your scheduling, so that it takes less of your time. So, the title of this live, Mary Sue, is Automating Referrals, Yes or No. So what's your perspective on that? Yes or no?
Well, I would say yes and no. No, I would say definitely yes. But you really have to have a clear strategy on how you're automating it. As with any automation, you have to know what you're going to be doing, because you can't automate an idea. You have to automate a system that's been thought out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a garbage in, garbage out type
exactly.
of thing,
So if you're not ready, then no. But if you do have a strategy, then yes. It's definitely worth automating, and it makes it much easier to be consistent. As we all know, that's the key to everything, is being consistent, and same with referral generation.
Yeah, with referral generation, it's like it's kind of like the ugly steps to the story. It's like, you know what, poor thing, overlooked. It doesn't seem that sexy or flashy, but it works. I'm much more interested in what works.
Yeah.
And so if we're going to look at, okay, yes, automation, and there's all kinds of different things we can do with automation and different parts of the process. We're going to talk about that in a sec. But what kind of, like, the strategy that you build behind it? I always think that strategy has to not only work to attract clients, but also work in the sense that we will engage in it. So I'm curious, like, you work with a lot of small business owners. What are some of the complaints you hear about generating referrals or trying to generate more referrals?
The biggest complaint is that it's random, and feels totally out of their own control. Mm-hmm. So it's something that happens to them, not something that they're making happen. Mm-hmm. So it's more that it's not a consistent avenue than then there's another problem. And the other one is cold calling, which I hate cold calling. That's the way I think of referrals too.
Oh my
So
gosh. Okay.
before I
Yeah.
worked with you, Mary, I know that you're going to talk about it, but
That's
um,
so interesting. I had no idea.
I hated the idea of I don't like the phone. I don't really like answering the phone. I don't know why. So making a phone call to someone spontaneously, I hate it. Just gives me like hives.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually like the polar opposite of what referral should be. It should be all about your warm network, all about building relationships, nurturing relationships. And all of that, I've heard the same thing. And I don't know if you know this, but when I first started, like my very first entrepreneurial experience was real estate. And I had no experience with business ownership. I didn't realize I'd started a business. I thought people were going to come to the real estate office and buy houses like they buy hamburgers from McDonald's. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. That was how sophisticated my understanding was of the entrepreneurial world. Well, luckily, I was in an office that really valued business development, and they dragged me kicking and screaming to a seminar on referral generation. And so I was able to, year over year, I tripled a real estate business, being brand new in town, knowing nobody. But the part where I was still unsophisticated is I didn't know there were other ways to market.
Right.
And that kind of helped me because I didn't have what a lot of people have. And you probably see this is like, should I do this or should I do that? Or should I was like, I don't know. I know referrals. It works. I'm just going to do that. And it worked. And
Yes.
so,
Well, that is a great point. And I also think having all of the avenues gives you more opportunity to hide behind things you don't want to do. Like my own hesitancy with referrals is I don't like making phone calls. It's not going to be the first thing I do
yeah,
to market. So yeah, having all these options makes it easy to hide.
it really, really does. So I was brought up in business ownership with some advantage, some ignorance that turned into an advantage for me because I
Mm-hmm.
know how much you can get consistent referrals, be consistent. I mean, almost every day I'm putting I track my referrals, of course, track everything, business owners track everything. And almost every day I'm putting referrals into my spreadsheet for tracking. So what happened for me, so I have all the same objections that everybody else does about referrals. It feels awkward to ask, like you're putting someone on the spot. If you're calling people, it's like you're surprising them and it's like you feel awkward. And I felt like it was always all about me.
Yes,
And I was like,
that was the other thing. I know it was you're supposed to somehow call and be like, oh, and your kid's doing blah, blah, blah. But then I feel like a stalker because somehow I have to find out something personal about them so that I can make an ask for me.
I know. And the fact is that that foundation, like this is what I still teach is that foundational way of generating referrals, like call people, keep in touch, send note cards. And that's fantastic. However, you've still got those resistance points. And I came face to face with those resistance points last year because the pandemic hit. I did my assessment like I do with all my clients and all my talks I ever do. I did the assessment, looked at what needs to stay the same and what needs to change. And what I realized is speaking was how I generated most of my clients, almost all of them, 2019 and 18. And suddenly I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen to speaking? Now the pandemic. So I better ramp up I've gotten lazy, frankly, in these other areas. And immediately feels awkward. It's unscheduled. It's all about me. Like all those things popped up. And I was like, I got to solve this. So I'm like,
I'm so glad you did.
Oh my God, me too. Oh my God. There's no way. I mean, I have great stories in the event next week. We're going to hear some of those stories about how it's helped people's businesses. But I did put together a way of generating referrals, which was structured. It wasn't all about me. It was collaborative. And then, okay, so here's the part. I'm going to ask you to tell a little bit about that in a second. But what I would love to know is, so Mary Sue, you started implementing this in your own business and then you have your automation, and tell me what happened. Like, how did those two things come together? What are some tips?
Well, I think having your emails written ahead of time, so that you have been intentional about how you're introducing the referral meeting and the discussion.
Right.
is key. And then having it on a schedule so that, you again, you're being intentional about how often you're asking people to participate in a referral meeting.
Yes.
And then the part that I need to do better on is always the follow-up after the referrals. I'm like 50-50, which is not good. And
Yeah.
but I need to do a better job of scheduling that time to do the follow-up after the actual meetings.
Yeah, that is huge, that extra part.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And with your own system, I don't even know what you call it, the Work Smarter.
Work Smarter CRM.
There we
Yeah.
go. Work Smarter
Yep.
CRM. Great, great name. So what is it that is built into that is really helpful?
Right. So what's really nice is it has the online appointment scheduling built in, as well as the email marketing or marketing automation, because I use email marketing function a lot for this sort of thing where it's not marketing, it's just more communication.
Mhm.
So having those two things together means that, and my mailing list. So I made a list of who to invite into the referral network because I didn't invite everyone.
Yeah,
Um,
you want to be particular. You want to be
yes,
intentional about givers.
exactly. Yeah, yes, I remember learning that the first time. I was like, oh, okay, because I would just be like, hey, come on into the party.
Oh my gosh.
So
Yeah, yeah. It it's not about being exclusive, it's about it being intentional, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So yeah, having my intentional list, and then I added them into my little campaign of, I think it was 3 emails of saying, "Hey, you want to join me in
Mhm,
referral generation? Here's how." And it was just 3 reminders for people that everyone's busy. And then once
mhm.
they scheduled, they got removed from that so that they weren't getting all three if they scheduled their meeting. And then reminders, and the reminders because for these referral meetings, which I'm sure Mary shared, it's a certain type of conversation. And so the reminders were specific to coach them on how to prepare for the meeting.
Yeah.
Um,
And that's that really creating that win-win-win for everyone involved. So you don't have that feeling of, oh my God, it's all about me asking. It's more about collaboration, and that coaching and that prep and remembering to do it is a
yeah,
big deal. Because otherwise you're spending all your time like, okay, now let me teach you how to do this. And yeah,
yeah.
doesn't work as well.
And what else? I think that was it. And then the kind of re-adding the loop of, okay, it's a new month. Why don't you get on the schedule again?
Right.
Um, yeah, the pieces that, of course, I am not the greatest routine person. Is why I automate stuff. Is
It's great. It's great. You solve your problem, and you can, your business is solving those same problems for other people who feel your pain.
that's right. Is I have to figure out how do I send that email to both attendees with their contact information. That
Mhm.
I do that by hand, and I do that pretty good. But
Yeah.
that is something that I'll end up doing right before the meeting or right after.
Yeah. And that's one of those kind of like up level things that's
Yeah,
like, if you do it, great. If you don't, it's all right.
yeah,
So thanks for that. So what I heard was like a lot of the pieces, the scheduling, the reminders, the invitations, like all of that gets wrapped in. So the cool thing that we set up, because I launched this last year, tried it in my own business, got more referrals in 8 weeks than I did the whole year 2019. I was like, holy shit, we got to get this, like I got to get this out into the world. I got to let people know about it. And so we launched
you
it
got
for
to trademark it.
I know. Well, it's referrals powered by Simply Get Clients is going to be
Mm-hmm.
the way it's going to be branded once I get around to that. Um, but what we found was, because I took it out and trained a bunch of people, they took it out into the world, they started generating referrals, they started applying their brilliance. And one of the things I wanted to make sure to get to everyone this year was that next level. And Mary Sue is that next level for sure, because I never let technology get in my way. I just want simple. I'm like, if I have to do it manually, I don't care. I'm just going to pound out those emails. I'm just going to schedule things. I'm just going to whatever, because business has to come in through the door. So I figure it out. Next level is Mary Sue. And so what we're doing in a week and a half, May 4th and 5th, is we're actually doing a 2-day, not 2 full days on Zoom, but like two hour sessions on Zoom. And it's more referrals, less hassle. Oh my God, did I tell you the story about how someone misunderstood that?
No, I haven't heard that.
She thought someone said more referrals, less assholes. And she said she was going to sign up for that anyway. She was like, oh, I totally saw. I'm like, oh my God, that's hilarious. So anyway, that was fun.
That's cute.
But yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to give you both pieces. So the automating referrals, yes or no, it really is yes, absolutely, as long as you have the strategy in place. So we're doing both next week or week after next, May 4th and 5th. And we're going to, the first day, go through, here is the strategy. Here are the emails you send out. Here's who you invite. Here's how you invite. Here's how you follow up. And so if you were to just do it kind of by hand, you get everything that first day. And, you know, some people, that's the right place to start. But then we want to next level. So we're going to next level the second day with Mary Sue and her automation. She's going to talk about how that all works, how to apply it. And also we're going to next level because you also need to see, okay, yes, this is the referral strategy, but what else in your business, what other areas will impact your success in this? So for instance, if you're getting referrals, but your pricing is way too low, it doesn't matter how many referrals you get, you're never going to reach your goal.
Yes.
Okay. So we want to make sure we've got everything locked and loaded and clarified. The whole enchilada. 2 days. So you can go to simplygetclients.com, more referrals, more referrals, less hassle, not more referrals, less assholes. Although, you know, come to that if you like.
I just have to put in my 2 cents. I took this Mary's first round last summer and it was amazing. And I have implemented in my business and I love it. I love it because it's the kind of conversation I like to have. And the people that have participated love it. So
yeah, it's
totally
a zero awkwardness zone. That's what I love.
Yes.
Awesome. So I know people are already signing up for it. We've already got probably about 40 or 50 people registered to come. We have a capacity. I think I'm going to do about 200. But yeah, please join. If you have questions, you can pop them into the chat right down here for Mary Sue or myself. And I hope this was helpful. Thanks, Mary Sue, for your time. I do appreciate you being here.
You're welcome.